My name is Shawggy, and I'm here with my good friend DeviantRin. Today, we are a part of the newest podcast that's just in town, Lag of Legends. How are we going to start off today? What's the conversation we're going to begin with, Mr. Rin?
How about those goddamn ninja patches and why they're irritating the hell out of us?
That's a good one. That's a good one to start with. Ninja patches... Why don't you start off with what ninja patches really are? In your own words.
They're basically little minute changes that Riot seems to think none of us notice, and they don't put in the damn patch notes, so we just sort of don't notice until we see that our champions aren't behaving the way they're supposed to, and when we go back to the patch notes, they're not there, so we have nothing to reference by.
Right. Honestly, I have actually seen a lot of the ninja patches, and me who has played a lot of the champions, almost every single champion, not entirely every single champion, but almost every single champion, especially in PvE, and of course normal servers, mostly normal servers, I noticed the patch notes almost right away that are not even shown up on the normal patch notes, known as our ninja patches, as we know them as to be. Ninja patches are things that are usually seen in a lot of games, that are mostly like PvP-wise, and at least for my terms of seeing what ninja patches are.
Ninja patches aren't a strictly League of Legends thing. Like, other games have done it too.
Dota's done it before, but then they got ridiculed for it and they stopped doing it. Now, it's not on the actual like news page if you're trying to look it up. It's because it was a community thing. Dota did that a while back. I want to say within the first 3 years of Dota, when Dota was Dota 2. Not Dota, like the regular first Dota, without there being a 1 or anything like that. Dota 2 that's out on Steam now. Their third season in with actual Dota, of Dota 2 being owned by Valve, they tried doing the ninja patch shit. Now, this was when, also key point, YouTube, I don't give a fuck, I'm not a freaking partner, so I don't care. Cuss words are out the window. Anyways, Valve tried to do that shit with Dota, but then the entire community noticed it, and they fired at Valve. They went right to Valve like, this is not right. You should be telling us every single tiny minute detail. I don't care if it takes you an entire week to frickin' write everything down, just do it. That's not the exact words, but that's basically to, emphasize what it was. And Dota stopped doing that. Dota stopped doing that right after. And they just said, you know what? Fuck it. If we're gonna put an update to a champion, and we're gonna, if we're gonna edit it in any certain type of way, even if it's minuscule, like really tiny, we're gonna fucking place it down. League has never done that because the freaking community doesn't fucking realize it half the time. And that's the thing.
It's divided is the issue, is that there are people who don't notice it because they're like different players pay a different amount of attention to the champions they main. Some just play them for the lore, some just play them for their looks and their kit. Others play them because they feel a personal attachment to them. Like I, for one, have absorbed pretty much all things Jinx at this point, considering that I started playing back in Season 3 and she came out at the end of Season 3, right before Yasuo, because Yasuo was the last one. But like, I absorbed all that information, so even the most minute details of Jinx that have been changed, I've noticed. So if you were to all of a sudden make Jinx's Q range just a tad longer to where you think no one would notice that, I will notice that shit, because I'll be like, wait a second, I wasn't able to hit that minion from where I'm standing before. What changed? And then I go to the patch notes, and guess what? They didn't say nothing.
Yep. I've noticed that when I've played Ornn, Urgot, frickin' Volibear before rework. I'll say before rework because after rework, anytime they made a change to him, it's been notified. Everyone in the entire server would find it out. But like beforehand, old Volibear, his play rate was good, but as the game progressed, he got older. And of course, as you know, reworks let the champion become more relevant in a sense, if you know what I mean. So Volibear, anytime Volibear now gets a buff or a nerf, it's noticed right then and there. You don't have like a small amount of stuff.
They do have a good amount of they do have a good amount of sense to at least tell people what's going on with the newer champions. Like, they usually ninja patch older champions, and I feel like this is, again, leading towards the idea that they do these to champions that they feel no one would notice.
Yeah.
But someone does.
Right.
And that person shouldn't be counted out.
Right. And, like, Ornn, nobody really would know this. I, as an Ornn main, would know, and of course, a lot of Ornn mains would probably remember this. If they don't, then I don't blame you, because not a lot of people would pay attention to minute details of Ornn. But I remember during Season 8, when I came back, because I took a break from the first half of Season 7 and came back in the last half of Season 8. I took a whole year break because the League went to shit during Season 7. But Season 8, Ornn was already out in Season 7. So Season 8 came around. I was playing Ornn when I came back. And, he seemed pretty fine, right? For the longest time. Literally about a month and a half I was playing Ornn when I came back in Season 8. I noticed that his MR scaling was higher than it was before. Before, you would see MR scaling not that high for a tank. Because you don't really notice it because it's a tank. You build some MR, you build some armor, whatever. But I looked at patch notes for a while. And, I was honestly appalled to find that they never spoke about Ornn receiving MR buffs or anything like that for Ornn. And I'm like, good, dope, because problems of Teemo. But then, of course, Teemo's, AP went down, and MR for Ornn went down away as well. But again, like I stated, not many people would have noticed that. When Teemo went up in his poison damage, Ornn's MR went up in Ornn's main MR, or MR scaling, went up. Small, minute, probably like 1 or 2 more MR to him, but that's it. Just 1 or 2 more MR. So it's like, those ninja patches are relatively known. Another one would be Urgot that I stated before I played Urgot. And there were a couple ones before and after his rework. Before his rework, his old Q, it added a bit more range, and they didn't state it in the patch notes for him. This was before he had his rework. Sure, a lot of people didn't really play Urgot back then, or at least during that time before his rework. Not a lot of players played him, and even those who did play him back then, which I see you guys out there that do, and that have, I do appreciate it, and I'm glad that there were players of him back before his old rework, or before his rework happened. But...
He had a lot of fortitude, because Urgot was ugly as hell back then.
Oh, yeah, he did. He's really, full circle changed. But what I'm stating is this, his Q range got longer, and, it noticed that, his slow, I can't remember if that was his E. I want to say that was his E or that was his W. I want to say it's his W. I might be wrong. It's been a while since he's had his rework right now at this point. It's been too long. I can't remember much at the moment, but oh well, you're not an Urgot main then. Yeah, I have played Urgot a good amount before his rework, and then I became a main of him 100% after his rework. But before rework, I do remember a good amount of the time that his Q for a bit wasn't that long or that big of range, and then I see it bigger out of nowhere. It's for some reason I'm able to hit a champion at a farther range than I thought I could, and I'm like, I'm chasing the guy down, I have it just ahead of him, and then for some reason, with my movement speed that I had, I was able to hit him because the Q went farther than it should have been. I'm like, that's not normal. And then again, like I stated, I went back to the patches and nothing was stated. Ninja patches have been around with us for the longest time, for all PvP games. All of them. Not just League, not just MOBAs even. Shit happens like that in Black Ops at one point. This is the old Black Ops. Those back in those days. But Black Ops, and a few others like Halo. Halo didn't really receive patch notes or anything, nor did really Black Ops. But when it came to the PvP spectrum, they did edit a few things, as well as with Overwatch and Paladins and so on and so forth. Paladins and Overwatch, they do receive more patch notes, and there are ninja patches in there too. Anyone who plays Paladins that will be watching this podcast, you would understand. If not, then you don't fully probably play Paladins long enough, or you just haven't noticed it, which is fine. But ninja patches are in every game. It's not just League. And I want to clarify that now. And I think Grin, you would back me up on that one as well.
Yeah, in the end, I just want to say that the problem with ninja patches isn't so much that they are in every game, so they're justified in that sense. I feel like in the end, people just need to realize that ninja patches just shouldn't be in any game. There shouldn't be information on champion changes or any sort of playstyle changes that is withheld from the players. Even if you think this is so minute that no one would care, just make a section at the bottom of patch notes like, hey, we didn't bother to put these things in the normal patch notes because they're minuscule and honestly, who cares? But if you do care about this sort of thing, here you go. Here are the little minute things that we changed. Now Twitch's crossbow is green. Or now Kaisa's Q has like an extra 30 range. Or something, or not even 30, like 5 range. Something like that. Like just make a little section at the bottom of here are the tiny things that we changed. We made the grass greener near the dragon pit.
Yeah, that's
something,
just minuscule. It's the minuscule stuff that not a lot of players would have noticed, but then they're like, great, awesome, thank you. And, that's fine. That'd be great for them to do that. But as a side note, I state this on a side note. This is going to be completely different than the actual main conversation. As a side note, I think Riot really has struggled in trying to find the correct direction that they need to go. Because...
oh god, yes.
In a sense, when they got owned by Tencent is when things just went to hell. And from the sounds of what you stated, wasn't it you stated, Rin, that League finally, or Riot finally got their ownership back from Tencent?
Not entirely. They got, I think it was a notes that someone had released from Riot saying that they had gotten partial ownership back of their company from Tencent so that employees could buy like stock in it. So basically it encourages employees to, buy stock and, better, basically make the company better, essentially. But that's also good because now they have more creative control over their own damn game. When you give your game to a gacha company, you run the risk of them putting into your game what works for gacha companies. And sadly to say, you may not have heard of this game, Shawggy, but one of the games that has done this to an annoying fault is L-Sword. L-Sword is
I've heard about it.
L-Sword is basically a 2D platformer / MMO that I used to love playing back in the day. Like, it was so much fun. The characters and classes were all bangers. Like, I loved it, but there was an issue.
Yeah.
L-Sword is owned by KOG. KOG is a Korean gacha company. So what did they do? They started to add more and more play-to-progress things in the game. I hate pay-to-progress games. I absolutely hate it when you reach a certain point in a game and it's like, well, you can either play an absurd amount of hours and do the most mundane quests possible to progress an inch, or you can give us $25 and buy this pass and now you get all the wonderful things that, come with that character. And it's like, no. If you claim your game is free to play, it should be free to finish. That doesn't mean it has to be easy, but it should be doable without being tedious.
Right.
And L-Sword unfortunately got to the point where it became so unbelievably tedious that for a long time the private server Void L-Sword was like 1,000 times better, despite the fact that Void L-Sword tended to not work half the time.
Yeah.
Players were willing to put up with that. Players were willing to put up with a server that only worked like 75% of the time, and that's being generous.
Yeah.
Then deal with the actual game that was... you had to deal with a paywall. People would rather deal with broken than tedious. And
Because
League has the exact same problem.
Yeah, that's the thing that I get upset
same
about.
problem.
Yeah, they do, because it's like, and this would be saved definitely for another podcast discussion. I would say this, and this is not really a side note, this is another discussion note that we'll pick up on another podcast time. We should definitely talk about the difference between, like, the easy and the tedious, and the difference between the two of broken and not broken as well, because that can easily be the same conversation. And I think we should discuss on that on a different note. So, but to stick back to the main point that we have with, ninja patches and shit like that, it's kind of sad that, like, also with patches in general, because there's also ninja patches, we can discuss about regular patches on top of that, if you think about it. Patches in general have been very, iffy, and kind of shitty in the same. I'm not gonna go in that sense, I'd say more of, not deceitful, more like, what is the
hell
word?
is wrong with you?
not in that, yeah, kind of like that, but what's the actual word I'm looking for? Hold on. Something like, where are we going with this? More like that.
Why the hell did you buff Yasuo and Yone?
That was where I was actually like, I can get mad at, because like everyone in the comments, before everyone in the comments starts flooding, I'm gonna say this now, right now, before anyone starts flooding up in the comments. You have to understand, we've been playing the game for a long ass time. We're not brand new to this shit. And as me who has played literally every single fucking genre of game, you can name the genre of the game, I have fucking played it. Not the actual game itself, but if it's in that genre, I've played it. I understand the difference of different classes. League, Dota is different. And I'll get to Dota, the reason why I state that in a minute. League has straight up stuck their own head so far up their ass, they don't know where the fuck the exit is. Or they've just forgotten where their asshole is to get their head out of. That's how bad it's gotten.
I just don't know why, man. Like, did you see the fucking logic for why?
Why they buffed Yone? Like, because of sibling rivalry.
They buffed Yasuo because they nerfed his item, but they nerfed his item for the specific reason of it was they were using it. So then they buffed and then because Yone can't be left behind, let's buff him too. And it's
but the thing is that, like, with
what?
The core item for Yone, the thing is that it was nerfed for, I say this, and some people say no, which I have talked to other people about this before when we're talking about the Yasuo and Yone buffs. But also, the thing is that, like, me and you, we look at full circle of every single class. We don't look at one main class, because I was talking with Flash. Flash is one of our friends of ours, everyone, so in case you don't know. Flash, he's more of the assassin side. And, because he's a main of Master Yi. He's a main of assassins, other than just Master Yi. If I remember right, he plays Zed and Talon. But, the thing is that, like, I tell him at times, I look at every single spectrum. I look at every single class. Because as someone who's played every single different type of class of all different games, knowing of mages, priests, priestesses, all the shit, tanks, paladins, in games, not actual D&D, but games themselves. And I've played with other people in D&D that would play the other classes, so I can understand what the fuck they do. I still don't remember most of it these days, because I took a fucking 3-year break from D&D, but
D&D I've understood. A whole bag of cats by itself.
We can have a whole different freaking discussion and podcast about that shit for D&D. But what I'm stating is this, and this is the gaming podcast if anyone doesn't know. I'll state this. I understand every single spectrum because I look at every single spectrum. I look at every single spectrum like, okay, so the assassins. When the assassins fell from the earth, I'm like, they did not deserve that. They did because of the arrogance, the toxicity, and everything.
They needed to be knocked down a peg, but they were knocked down way too many pegs.
They were it was too much. I was like, yes, it was needed, but also it wasn't needed that badly. The thing is that that League has always done, and I'm glad Dota doesn't. they overtune. Either the motherfucker is too up and too motherfucking powerful, or they aren't, and they're just down in the gutter. Might as well just step on them because they're just fucking bugs at that point. Am I wrong, Rin?
No, yeah, it's assassins are one of those classes that are just very hard to balance because of the fact that you either make them too busted or they fall off the face of the earth.
Well,
like the end of season 3's assassins were like way too strong, and then going into season 4, it's like the community was just outcrying, like, please, for the love of God, these people are the most toxic, arrogant assholes we have ever encountered. Please do something. Knock them down like 3 pegs, please. And Riot went, oh, sure, no problem. We'll knock them down 30 pegs. Like, wait, whoa. We said 3. We said 3. Calm down.
So it's like, the thing is that, like, I get upset about, and that's also why I chewed out one of the Riot employees at one point, long way back, from everyone that's not actually talked with me normally. I talked with Rin about this like just a couple hours ago. I was in season 4 Grandmaster, not with the account that I have now. It was a very old fucking account that I lost a while back. But I reached Grandmaster season 4. I had a bunch of Challenger buddies, I had Grandmaster buddies, and I had Master buddies, and of course Diamonds, and so on and so forth. I had everyone from all the spectrums, from the high elo to the low elo, and I only kept people who were not toxic, and so on and so forth. But, one of my Challenger buddies, he was able to get a hold of one of the Riot employees, and I let that motherfucker have a freaking new asshole. I straight up ripped him a new one. And this was during season 6. This was before pre-season of season 7. Because season 7 is when I left. And I chewed him out, up and down, telling him who needs what to be able to balance everything. And when a brand new champion of each class comes out, to make sure that every other champion will be able to be in a sense of balance with that new champion that comes out. Sure, every champion can't be the damn same, but make sure that the other champions are still in a balance, and that champion isn't overpowered compared to the rest of the champions that you still have originally. And I gave them different stats, like what the assassins would need, what to do with the assassins, what they do with the mages, and how to take care of the mages, what to do with the, what to do with the tanks, and how to treat them properly, and what to do with the bruisers, juggernauts, all the classes. Every single type, battle mages, all that. Every single subclass of every single main class. Even the supports. I went down to the dear damn bone. And the thing is that, like, when that guy, of course, after I chewed him out, and of course, the first half of it, he wasn't listening to me because, of course, I was just ranting. But after I finally got to the point of, like, trying to help him give advice to help make sure that they don't lose their community, this was already after they had gained after Tencent had went ahead and partnered or gained ownership, either of the two, from them. This was after that happened, and I'm like, you need to have more. I told them, like, you need to grow a pair of balls at this point and fucking stand up. Otherwise, you're being a piss poor piece of shit that Dota would even spit down upon if you even say that you got inspired by them. They would literally spit at your face and say, shut the fuck up and leave. That's literally how bad it was.
Season 7 was literally the worst season.
Season 7
all time.
Season 7 was where time. Season 7 is actually, I have met so many people before season 7. I lost them all in season 7. It was gone.
Yeah. Season 7 was by far the worst season of all time, and that's coming from someone who, experienced the original tank meta, which was bad. That was very, very bad.
Yep.
But at least everyone was, playable somewhat, and games were, kind of fun.
Season
7 was just a terrible time.
Season 7, like, sure, it was, as you stated, a tank meta, but the thing is that, like, here's the thing that I get upset about, and I told you this before, no one else on the call, that's watching this has never probably heard this, of course, because brand new. Anyone who has a right state of mind would probably agree when I state this in YouTube, Rin. Anytime there's a tank meta, shit goes down shit just gets worse. Whenever it's a tank meta.
Every time. I don't get it's like Either tanks are way too relevant, or they're not relevant at all.
Yes.
They can't get it right.
They never can get it right with almost any class, except for Bruisers, and I'll say this, Bruisers and Assassins, not even Assassins, I can't say Assassins, Bruisers, I love y'all, but also fuck y'all at the same time, because you guys always complain about a tank, when it's tank meta. But the thing is that if you build the same tank items, you just nuke everyone else anyways, because you have so much AD perspectives. I'm talking about you, Mr. Motherfucking Darius mains. So shut the fuck up and cry in your freaking corner all you care about. Because as long as Darius has his passive that he has, right the fuck now, and even back then in Season 7, he will always become a menace to any tank meta. So you can shut the fuck up whenever it's a tank meta and you don't want it there. Thank you. Anyways, besides the point, anytime it's a tank meta, it's not just the freaking other classes, the other positions or whatever that get upset about it. Tanks, sure, they're happy, but the thing is that also most tanks, the real tank people, the people that really play the more skill-based champions, Ornn now, especially when they brought out the tank meta with Ornn, when they buffed Ornn. I played Ornn, and when they buffed him, I was like, you buffed him too much. When they buffed Ornn, I'm like, great, you buffed him. How bad is the damages? I looked, I'm like, hey, you fucked up. They went so bad. They went literally down the hole. I'm like, this is sad. As someone who plays Ornn, I actually feel appalled at seeing these. Everyone's gonna think he's broken. And literally the next 3 games, everyone's saying, Ornn's broken, Ornn's broken, Ornn's broken. And guess who are the people that stated that? You know who you are? Fucking Yasuo mains. Yasuo mains, I had frickin' Darius's, I've had Trundles, I had Yorick's, I had fucking Nasus, once Ornn got his buff. And when all the tanks got their frickin' tank meta. And that was during fucking Season 9. At the end of Season 9 to the beginning of Season 10, there was a tank meta, I think. No, that was during halfway through Season 10. Halfway through Season 10, the tank meta, when Ornn got his buff and the Sunfire got a... not Sunfire, the frickin' Bomby Cinder got a buff. That's when everything went to hell. Ornn mains alike.
They just can't. They just can't, man. I mean, granted, I don't think we'll ever have a tank meta as bad as the first one. I don't think that's physically possible at this point, and thank God, because I never ever want to see a team fight go on for like 7 minutes and nothing happens. I never want to see that ever again.
And that was the reason. That was the reason why they made Vayne, was for that reason. But the thing is that, like, they haven't made a tank meta as bad as Season 3. I came in at the end of Season 3, to be more truthful about everything. I came in at the end, near the end of Season 3. Period. End of Season 3, I actually fucking came in. And I didn't play Season 2 or Season 1 because I was going through some shit at the time, and I didn't have a gaming computer or a computer at that to even play League at the time. I didn't have a computer to play League on until I was about 13. We're not even 13. It was freaking... No, wait, it was 13. Because, I was 13 during Season 4. No, not Season 4. It was 12.
This is just a drunken rant, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is a drunken rant, but also it's an interesting one. Yeah, it's a drunken rant without the alcohol. But anyways, like, I remember I was like 12 or 13 years old during Season 3. Like, near the end of Season 3. Yeah, it was, because I came in like, December near the beginning of January. So, yeah, it was a year I turned 13, which was the end of Season 3, was the year I turned 13, and the start of Season 4. And it was the ending of the actual tank meta by that time, but even then, when I met some people, they discussed to me all about that fucking season when I was just brand new to seeing this tank meta. And then Vayne, and I was like, oh fuck. So Vayne's always been an issue, and Vayne's never really changed. That's the thing.
She's never needed to. She has always been consistently what she was designed to do. Stop the season, what was it, Season 3? The Season 3 tank meta. That's what she was designed to do. She was designed to put an end to that, and she did. And she's never needed to be anything else ever since.
But the thing is that she's needed to at least be nerfed at this point, because she's still a menace to top lane. It's not because, because she's ranged, isn't it? No, it's because the constant max health damage that she has, that's true damage. Fucking, no matter what, if you go against a Vayne and you're playing anything, if it's a tank or a bruiser, you're fucked. If you're playing anything with health, you can't build, yeah, exactly, you can't build against her. The only thing you can do is take a fucking CC. Someone who's pure CC and massive amount of burst. That's the only way you fuck her. And the problem is that, like...
you can stop that, too. And you also have to be careful of what you build, too. Because said person has to also be kind of mobile. Because otherwise, Vayne can just E away from you, or E you away from her, and roll away. And by the time you run up to her, your slow tank ass can't catch her.
Yep. So it's like... That's why I state as well, like... And she constantly can easily just kite you, too, as your melee. And it's that, like... You know, the only person that can really counter her, there's only one person that I know of top lane. There might be like 2 others, but that I remember, the only person that fucks Vayne is Jax. Because of his auto attack thing that just fucks her over. Jax is the only one that is the counter to all range.
Jax has been a consistent counter to range top laner since day one. Like, Jax rose to popularity because of the fact that he was good at fighting Ribbons and Garens. And then when ADCs moved to top lane, he was just good at fighting them too.
Yeah,
so
because of his
became a staple.
And the thing is, this kit has not
And his split
changed.
push was unchallenged back then.
True, it was unchallenged back then, before more like Yorick and Trundle was able to gain more of the advantage. But, he's not as powerful as he is today in the split pushing area. Sure he is, but also he isn't as compared to Trundle and Yorick.
He isn't the king of split push like he used to be. He's still up there. I'd still put him in the top 5, but he's not number 1 anymore.
Right, he's not number 1. I'd state this, and people can get mad at me. Nasus mains, you know who you are. And Scooch, I have nothing against you either. Again, it's just because Nasus... He has to build stacks to get more damage. Otherwise, that's just about it for split pushing. Sure, he is a massive amount of split push. We love Scooch.
We watch Scooch religiously.
Yes, we do. You watch him more religiously than I do, but I watch him. But I watch him to like see like what his viewpoint is, and I do like his viewpoint most of the time because it's like he looks at it full circle, like I look at everything full circle.
Well, because he's an old player. He started, I think, even before I did. He started
before both. He started before both of us.
He's an OG.
Yeah,
he remembers what it was like before. He remembers what it was like before the tank meta.
Yeah. So he knows before both of us came in, and that means you've played longer than I have as well with League. But besides the point, I have played long enough to be able to see the shit basically in the shit show that's become of League of Legends to this day. And I've gotten angry about it. People, tease me like, oh, you shouldn't be all so angry with League. And it's like, if only you knew what I knew. Because a lot of the people that like tease me like, oh, you shouldn't be mad at League, they don't know what the shit I've seen. That's the difference. They've not seen the shit I've seen. The people I've met these days, except for you, Rin, and a couple other people, they've not seen the shit I've seen. And that you've seen, Rin. Like, my buddy Oblivion.
I think it's all hunky-dory in League.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, I would say that League is getting better. Like, I feel like
slowly.
Season 12 is, like, their redemption arc, if that makes sense. Like, everything seems to be getting better. And they've done less ninja patches.
True, they've done less.
I don't really see as many of those. So, like, everything's starting to go back up again.
I do see a good amount at the same normality and it's to the tanks and juggernauts that I play. Yorick has got his ninja patch. Trundle got a ninja patch. Ornn got a ninja patch. Because I just noticed that his freaking armor is higher than it's supposed to be. And they didn't put that in the freaking patch notes. And I checked. They didn't put it in patch notes yet for Season 12. Ornn's armor is higher than it's supposed to be. Freaking Urgot's base MR and armor is higher than it's supposed to be. But the thing is that it's not significant. It's just +1. It's just an extra 1.
Oh.
But Urgot, though, I've also noticed as well. Remember when you were playing Urgot Jungle? Or when me and you were playing and I was playing Urgot Jungle? I noticed. Well, I just didn't say anything because I'm like, this doesn't seem right. They might just take that back out not long after. But it was because I looked and I saw that my Urgot And the thing is, I don't really have much with runes, really. The only runes I do is just like 1 MR and 1 armor anyways, that's normal. But I still notice the difference, because you only get like, I think, 8 armor and 8 MR on both. But, because I always do as my passive of my runes of 1 MR and 1 armor, always, as a normal base. Urgot's base MR, not base, but like his MR scaling has gone up by 2. And I noticed that when we were playing. That's why I didn't go for a Maw, and I didn't rush my Wit's End. Instead, I went for my normal build of like going Eclipse, Titanic, and instead I went Death's Dance. I didn't give a fuck about Wit's End. I took Wit's End like 5th item in, because I noticed that the MR scaling was already good enough. It was just the armor I had to worry more about. I remember when we did that game, we had a good slew of both AP and AD. So, it's just that I wasn't getting easily bursted down with the AP than I was the AD. So our MR scaling has gone up. It's just they didn't state it in the patch notes.
Right. They just tend to think that no one notices these things, but we do.
And the thing is that, like, they should be stating that with Urgot, because Urgot has had his comeuppance. Urgot, in Season 11, and the preseason even, this is actually why they nerfed Urgot. They nerfed Urgot's W because of Kraken Slayer. Urgot. Kraken God was a pain. I played it. I knew it, and I'm like, oh, hell, they better nerf it. As someone who mained Urgot after it, moreover, basically, I had 100% mained him after his rework. I played him a little bit before rework, but I mained him after his rework. Dear God, when I saw the Kraken with Urgot, I was terrified. I'm like, oh God. And to think about this, what they have to deal with top lane when an Urgot would rush this. It's devastating. Thank God they nerfed him. Thank God they nerfed him. Because they nerfed him.
To just build, they would build like all of the, they would build Tiamat, they would build Kraken and Bork, and just the amount of on-hit damage you would do with his W, he didn't need anything else.
And then also Shirota's Grudge. He didn't even need boots if he bought Shirota's Grudge. And he still doesn't if you build it.
He didn't need any other items. Like, he was on his way to becoming a Yasuo and a Yone, where he would have full build to 2 items. Except for him, it was like 3, but still.
3, actually, 4, actually, still for him. He actually had more items to him, because he's more late game. But, it's also like, people didn't really play him in jungle, as well, when Season 11 hit. Instead, people got him out of the jungle and into the, the main lane, because also, like, the thing is that not many people realized it, and a buddy of mine showed me a patch note that actually showed a couple of the ninja patches they were trying to hide, but instead he was able to get the actual patch out, and even show the ninja patches, and Urgot was able to then jungle. That was when they buffed Urgot to be able to actually go in and jungle with shit. With his shotgun knees and shit like that. All of his abilities were able to do more damage to the jungle camps. And I'm like, you just made him more viable for jungle than he already was, because I was already playing him in jungle and maining him in jungle and dominating the jungle with it before he was buffed. And then I see that and I'm like, it's literally like small, and it's a small print, and it showed Urgot can now be able to jungle, or he does this amount of damage to jungle camps instead, or to, non-epic monsters, or something like that, something along those lines.
The infamous meta where everyone could be a jungle. And us jungle mains were like, why?
But the thing is that, like, Urgot was not being played as much top lane during that time, so that's why it was given in. But, of course, they didn't want to state it too much, or then, because they already had... This was actually... No. Urgot jungle was, inside the jungle... Urgot was buffed for jungle before Brand, Morgana, and Darius were buffed in.
Yeah, literally. He was the first one. And, like, we were, like, kind of iffy on that one, I will say. Like, jungle mains were kind of iffy on that one. Like, I mean, I see it, but why? But then everyone else all of a sudden was able to jungle. All of a sudden you saw Brands and Morganas, and I'm sitting here playing Kindred. Like, why the fuck am I playing Darius? Why the fuck am I fighting a Darius? Get out!
Yeah,
that's not a jungler.
That's where I was like, they fucked up at. And then they brought in the assassins, like freaking Zed and Talon.
Yeah, and then
that's
Zed
I'm like,
and Talon
no.
came too, and we're like, why? Stop!
And I'm like, I see this. Get Talon out of jungle. He never belonged there. Sure, I understand he jumps over the walls and stuff like that, but that's the thing. It was more skill-based for him to jump over the walls when he was a freaking mid laner. Now, you place him as a jungle, you don't know where the fuck he's at all. For one, and two,
he can
easily
over any wall he wants.
Exactly, he can just easily hop over and be having safe farm. I'm like, you just made assassins more easy to play.
He has the ability to gank from the same amount of directions as Shaco, and no one should have as much gank ability options as Shaco.
And Zed has that too, with the shadows and shit.
Shaco is bad enough. We didn't need more.
Hell, like,
there's a reason why I always ban Shaco, because I never want to see Shaco ever.
Yep. And the thing is that, like, I get upset with it because it's like, people who play the, like, champions of Talon, well, Talon has mana, but he can easily get that mana back, for one, and definitely being in the jungle, he definitely can.
Well, the jungle items give you so much mana regen, you don't really have to worry about it. Hell, Diana's a jungler now, which, to be fair, she was designed to be a jungler.
That. Yeah, she was designed for that. That's why I'm like, she's clarified.
She became better for mid lane.
Yeah.
And it just worked that way. But you shouldn't have... just because everyone has the ability, or just because everyone has an option to jungle doesn't mean they should.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem I had with Season 11, is they made, like, if at first they made jungling too easy, because they gave so much more health regen on the jungle item to the point where you didn't need to kite camps anymore. So the skill expression started to die off. And then the weird shit they did of making the Scuttle Crab not give health anymore, now they moved it to the Gromp, and they put this shield on the Scuttle. And the reason why they did that is to apparently encourage players to CC the Scuttle and, you know, rush fighting it so that they could get early vision for their team. And you could only break the shield either through damaging it enough or through CCing it, and that was cool.
Yeah.
But then they gave junglers who didn't have CC the ability to break the shield with Smite, which completely negates the point of the shield in the first place, but it's still here. So it's like you made something and then you patched it out, and or you made it irrelevant, but it's also still here. Like, could you imagine if there was a section of the map where the hags are? Like, instead of wraiths, where the old hags were, like, if they were just chilling there, like, what are you doing here? The map has changed since 6. Why are you all still here?
Yeah.
Get out. Like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. I'll say this much, Twisted Tree Line did not need to go.
Twisted Tree Line needed just help. Like, they kept saying that no one played Twisted Tree Line. Yeah, because every event that you put out, you wouldn't include Twisted Tree Line in one of the game modes where you could get rewards for. Why would I bother to play Twisted Tree Line if I don't get rewarded for it?
Yeah. And I enjoyed Twisted Tree Line because, like, it was fun to play because, like, the thing is, in the rank system, there was never solo rank with it. It was always 3v3 rank, period. So that means you could have other friends.
It also didn't help, though, that the queue time for Twisted Tree Line was like 25 minutes.
Well, that was after,
that didn't help.
Well, it was because that only was like that whenever an event was out. Whenever an event was not out, it wasn't that long. I remember when there wasn't an event out and I was playing Twisted Tree Line, and it was only taking, like, as much time as it takes as an A-Ram, like 2 or 3 minutes to show up. On an old normal server. Sure, on PvE it was fucking longer, but you know what I mean.
Well, normal server play PvE, to be fair.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though. Like,
I do miss it. You know what I miss, though? I miss the old PvE events. Like, that was something that didn't need to be patched out. Why don't we have Dominion anymore? Why don't we have the Star Guardian event as a rotation anymore? Why don't we have fucking Thresh's Curse anymore?
Why don't we have the frickin'
Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah! Odyssey was the best! I remember playing Odyssey. I loved that shit. It was amazing. I always played the Malphite. I always played Malphite. I loved it. It was fun.
They just got rid of it, and then they were like, we're not going to bring back PvE events anymore because we see that, you know, they cause players to, like, get burned out quicker. I'm like, no. People only get burned out when Earth comes out. And you know why? Because Earth is the one place where League can go back to how it was back then, where build variety was everywhere and people could just do stupid shit and who cares.
Yeah.
And then people have so much fun with that, and then when Earth goes away, it's like, well, back to normal old Summoner's Rift and all its problems. No one wants to do that.
Yeah,
You know what they should have done? They should have made ARAM a rotating game mode and have Earth be a permanent game mode.
Yeah.
Or
But it also was because
one
of the
other game modes you can have.
Yeah, it was also because of the servers is the reason why that no one was really playing like USA is the only one that has the most percentage of players that go play Earth. Otherwise, the other regions do not give a fuck. They love more of their ranked and shit like that than than any other. So that's why it's like
are the reason why. I forgot.
Yeah, you gotta remember the tryhards are the reason why, and I'm like, you know, it's a PvP type of game. You gotta understand there are tryhards, and I hate the tryhards though that go into the normal games. When tryhards go into a normal
in every game.
Yes, and I hate the munchkins. If you don't know what the munchkins are, Rin, please explain what a munchkin is.
Munchkins are basically one of the most hated player archetypes in the world when it comes to games. You usually see them in tabletop RPGs, but they appear in every type of game. They're everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they are basically a player archetype of need to win at all costs, even when that isn't always the point of the fucking game. You'll see them like in D&D as min-maxers and people who love to, you know, rush scaling up their characters as fast as possible just so they can beat the next big bad, and they pick feats and skills and spells in a very specific way in order to maximize their efficiency in any situation possible. Yep. They are also in League as the people who build the same thing on they have a select group of champions that they rotate through depending on what lane they're in, and they build the exact same thing every single time for every single game because it is the most highest percentage of win rate for that champion.
Yep.
And they are the worst.
Yep. Me and Rin, we've seen it a lot happen in Earth on PvE because this is what I state. Why I don't like playing on PvE whenever Earth or Aruf is in. Aruf is basically AR Earth. I hate going
ARAM and Earth.
Yeah.
Together.
Basically, I hate it because for PvE, because everyone from the normal servers, when they know that it's up, they'll leave the normal servers to go over to the PvE to go play Earth. And then they don't leave until after Earth or Aruf is gone.
And I despise Earth because there's no bans and you can't select your champions, and don't put RNG in my already RNG game.
Yeah, Aruf is never really good to have to play because it's always there's always tryhards. That's the thing. And the thing is, like, in PvE, if anyone tries to try hard, you know, it's in a normal game, and I hate that they kept the rank system. They should get the rank system out because that just boosts egos.
Right. Why do we even have ranked in PvE?
It's because the fucking tryhards of the it's because the tryhards fucking want to have their rank system, and also they're testing their ranking to make sure that it works with the icons. That's also why. That's also the reason why. There's two different reasons why. One, they're tryhards, and two, the frickin' they're trying to at least make sure that the stuff is working correctly for that. But I'm like, give us the normals. Give us normals too, for people who doesn't want to fucking be ridiculed just because of their ranking. Give us the draft pick.
Give us draft pick. That's all we need.
Yes.
Give us draft pick. Give us our bans. Thank you.
Even though even the normals never gave us bans, anyways. But yeah.
Oh, right. That's just true.
Yeah, and that's just what I state as it's kind of shit. At the same time, I do understand why they do it, is because so then people can at least try out the newest champion. But that also...
yeah.
But it's also where I sit down and I'm like, yes, but also no. Because the rank system...
I want to ban my Shaco.
Well, the thing is that in the rank bans, or the rank system part of it as well, there are no bans. Last I remember. Unless they put that in. But that's what I remember. They've never they've never had bans
in a long time.
Yeah, I don't touch it. I have touched it like a couple times, but that was because it was the only fucking way to play normal frickin'.
You know what should be a constant game mode?
What?
Not Earth. They should make Nexus Blitz a constant game mode.
Yes!
Because Nexus Blitz is the only game mode that is consistently fun. Every single time I play. Even if I'm losing. Even if I'm getting my ass whooped. It's still a fun time. Every single time. Yeah. And there's no game mode like that. ARAM isn't always fun.
No.
Earth isn't always fun, although it is the most consistently fun, but it's not always fun. Yeah. There are times where you're on the bad side of Earth and it feels like, you know, having abilities cool down this fast doesn't do anything. Like, Earth is fun like 75% of the time. ARAM is fun 50% of the time. But Blitz is fun 100% of the time. Even if you're getting your teeth kicked in, it's still super fun. Yep. That should be a permanent thing.
Yep. That I do agree on, honestly. And, like, Nexus Blitz, the thing I didn't really like, though, and some people can ridicule me for this, I don't care. Nexus Blitz, they shouldn't have kept the items of, the normal when they brought in Season 11. They shouldn't have put those items as a stay. They should have still kept with the old Nexus Blitz items that were, like, basically banished before time could be able to, you know, be able to abuse it. Because Nexus Blitz, you had items and stuff like that that actually, you know, made the game faster, but two, made it more fun, more interesting.
Made it more varied, yeah.
Yeah, but then they just
fucking Deathfire Grasp in Nexus Blitz.
Hell yeah! We had the old Frost. You had the old freaking you know, what is it? My brain is dying. Force of Nature. We had the old Force of Nature. We had the old. Right. We had so many of the old items. Even Banner of Command.
The only thing we didn't have was Atmos Impaler, and I don't think we.
Actually, no, we didn't have Banner. We had Banner Command. We had Banner Command for now, but we had Banner Command. The first Nexus Blitz,
which thank God, like the really broken items they didn't have, but they did keep some of them. Like we didn't have Wriggler's Lantern, thank God.
Thank God.
We didn't have Atmos Impaler, also thank God.
Yep.
And we didn't have the original Banner of Command. Well, not the original, because the original was a summoner spell, but I mean the first item version of it.
Yeah, the item version of the Banner Command. Well, we had that at the first Nexus Blitz, but then they removed that.
Yeah, they forgot what Banner of Command could do.
Yeah,
they forgot.
Yeah.
They were very quickly reminded.
Yeah, they were very quickly reminded when they had the old Nexus Blitz, that before they brought the Nexus Blitz back for the, frickin' Spirit Blossom event, which I'm glad that they did bring back Nexus Blitz, because I remember Nexus Blitz was gone for like a couple years or so. Like, we didn't see Nexus Blitz for the longest time until we had frickin',
They introduced it as like this cool new game mode, and everyone was like, yeah, we really like this, and then it disappeared for 3 years, and we're like, but we want more.
Yeah.
There's more.
And the thing is that, like,
But they did eventually.
They did, but the thing is that, like, I feel like during the time that they had it gone, they were also editing out a lot of the items that they were like, this should have not been in here, this should have not been in here, oh, this should not have been in here. You know, they're taking out stuff that should have not been in there, and I'm like, I respect that. That's why I think
the original Nexus Blitz did have Atmos Impaler, and
it did.
Keep in mind, it also had old Warmugs and old Force of Nature, and those were the three items that you needed to have the old tank meta. That ruined the game and made team fights pointless.
Yeah. So, they had to take that out, of course. But, I'll say this as well. You know, we need to pay more attention to, like, the new player base, you know, so on and so forth. Apologies, everyone, for that. I had to check our time.
We can go on for a long time about a lot of subjects when it comes to League.
Yeah, when it comes to League, we go to one topic, we can stay on that one topic, and that can literally be like hours on end. So, like, if anyone gets bored, I'm sorry. That's just us. Cause how we do D&D for who knows how fucking long. But anyways, besides that point,
that could be a good episode too.
Yeah, well, actually, no, we can place that as another thing, cause like Lag of Legends, we're gonna keep that as like a gaming area. So for this two different podcast types of hierarchies, or we might do specials like D&D special days, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
come up with a title that just encompasses different games that we play, or we could. I mean, realistically, Lag of Legends still applies to D&D because I swear to God, there are times where people's brains lag.
Yeah, that's true. Included. Yeah, I understand that. Because I can actually back up with that, because like I actually know this type of pain. But I guess you are right. We could just keep with it as with D&D and gaming, because D&D kind of is gaming in a sense.
It is one of the quintessential games. It's literally the most celebrated game, like I think, of all time. It has
they made a video game of it too.
League does.
They finally made a video game with D&D. Finally, they made two of them.
Well,
but
we had Neverwinter for a long time. And then
I missed that shit. That I miss. I tried to play it again, and because it's to rekindle old memories. Shit don't work no more. But I'll state this so we can still get back on the topic. I'll say this.
The point just is that in the end, to wrap this all up, the reason why ninja patches are bad and cause so many problems is because they plant seeds of doubt in the player base. They cause people to not trust that they're being told everything, and that causes them to react in certain ways. And when you have a player base as large as League of Legends that is so divided and so split between, or so divided and so distrustful of the company that they're playing with, they tend to do things and act out, and that causes a bad experience for newer players. And it also causes a bad experience even for the older ones. Like, there are so many times where I've seen people on subreddits who are like, I've watched Arcane and I want to learn League of Legends, and immediately you see just the responses to that person are all the veteran players saying, don't you dare.
Like, don't play, read the lore, but don't play.
It's really sad.
Yeah, because
what happened to, like, overall, I can just say, like, what happened to us? We were the people who used to, tout to all our friends all the time and how fun League was and how much we loved the different build varieties and the different champions and the crazy shit we could do and the memorable moments. But we've become so jaded and distrustful of Riot for good reason that nowadays... That nowadays, whenever someone, is like, hey guys, I just watched, Arcane and it seems really cool and I want to go play the game, that all of us are like, no, you sweet summer child, you just sit right there and you just, don't you dare.
Before they can finish, like, shut the fuck up, no! You are not gonna be tainted by that unholy magic!
You sit here and you watch this and you be a good boy.
Yes,
what happened to us?
Because we've seen we've seen the darkest side of Riot, and Riot has always kept its dark side. And the thing is that we've not seen Riot come out of its dark stages, so that's why we're like that. I actually understand it, because my little brother, he saw me playing, Ornn at one point. I was playing a game of Ornn, and because he came over to come visit because my mom brought my siblings over to come visit, I was playing Ornn, and my little brother was getting fascinated, like, how much I was just dominating everybody with Ornn, and how I got a pentakill, luckily, with fucking Ornn. And he's like, dude, that guy looks so cool! Can I play? I said, shut the fuck up, no! I literally turned my head around as he's sitting on my bed. I said, shut the fuck up, no! My mom got mad at me for cussing, but I didn't care. Because later on,
child, just
I told him, like, I do not want you becoming the horrible people that I have to sit with every fucking day. Yeah, like, the thing is, I was carrying that game, too. That was the thing. I remember that game vividly. I was carrying the game. I went fucking 20, 3, and 5 as Ornn top lane, pure tank. Because they didn't have a Vayne, they didn't have any way of max health damage to Ornn. So I was just able to just eat their damage. I was full build, just constantly able to just stay alive. And my little brother thought, oh, that seems so cool, you seem unkillable, I want to try him out. No. And
this is what you call luck of the draw.
Yeah, it's literally a luck of the draw. Like, I've had games where I actually have turned around the entire game because of me, and everyone else just takes the credit when it's like, I was the reason why we turned the game around. I don't know why you're saying that. Oh, you would have this KDA. I'm like, what's the assists? 1, 2, Who took care of all the towers and freaking nexuses? Who's the one that went ahead and split pushed while y'all were fucking having who knows what down there?
Who did all the objectives while you guys were busy dicking around in mid lane?
And that's where I also sit down and be like this, and we'll say this and we can then kind of come to a closing here. Basically, and this was a game I had. Thankfully, my little brother wasn't here, but I was playing Trundle. Trundle was one of the top 3 best split pushers in the game, I would say. And, with the build I was taking at least. And this was before Hullbreaker existed. I straight up was Hullbreaker's the newest item. That's basically Banner of Command, but is actually good.
But not ridiculous.
Yeah, not ridiculous. It's actually balanced. But this is before Hullbreaker existed. I straight up took all of the objectives. We won because I took all the objectives. I literally had fucking 20 deaths and 2 kills that game. 0 assists. Freaking 20 deaths in the game. We won because I took all the objectives.
This is what you call inting, kids.
It's not really inting. It's because, I did not care if I was going to die. I'm going to take that tower with me.
I'm fucking with you. You know I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, that inting Scion is definitely a thing, though. I would suggest, playing that around. Sure, it's not 100% the best, but if you're looking at mainly just split push and just taking objective, it's a thing.
Fucking what's-his-name was that was a good death. That was definitely a good death. What?
Yeah, but it's because, because of the amount of objective damage he was able to do, the damage to objectives. But, what I state is this. I took the entire, fucking base. I took their entire base out. I even ended the game by myself. I was literally the person that ended the fucking game because I took all the way flooded in. The entire enemy was at fucking Dragon. They were fighting for Elder. My team and the enemy was fighting for Elder. They didn't have Baron. Baron just turned off for them, for the enemy team. The enemy team was straight up fucking dominating. I went against a fucking Darius. And you know how Darius is good at freaking destroying teams. I straight up won us the game. Before I ended the game and the entire team was dead, and the enemy team was trying to teleport back, or come back, my team was straight up stating in the all chat, report Trundle inting. I'm so happy for this team, and if you guys are out there, I thank you, and I love y'all for this. They straight up defended me. They said, he's the reason why you guys are fucking winning. Sure, your KDA, your freaking, the kills difference is massively different. We're winning in the kills. But he's literally taken all of our objectives. All of the freaking towers are gone because of him. All of our inhibs are gone because of him. Our 2 turrets in base have just died because of him. And our Nexus is almost dead.
Lane pressure, very important.
Lane pressure, yes!
I can't tell you how many times I've had to basically tell my team, guys, just push.
And the thing is, here's the dumbest shit.
Push.
Here's the dumbest shit. I was fighting against diamonds, and I had fucking plats and golds in my team.
That's just sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, I've told my teams multiple times, just push. Stop fighting them and push. We won't win by team fights this time around. If we just create more lane pressure, then they're forced to go on the defensive and deal with the super minions. And while they're dealing with super minions, then we can fight them because they're at the disadvantage.
Right. But
that's what lane pressure is.
But that's also still down to the point of what our discussion was starting off with today, is the notes. The patch notes, they should be stopped doing the ninja note or ninja patches.
Just tell us everything, because when you create distrust and discord in your player base, it causes a lot of the problems that we've seen today. Ninja patches are a small part of it, but it's not a part of it nonetheless. And that's something that I'm glad Riot has noticed and is doing less and less of nowadays. Nowadays, I don't really see any ninja patches. Again, Season 12 seems to be that redemption arc. I mean, sure, some people would say, well, Renata Glass is one of the most absurd champ designs I've ever seen.
She is.
And also they buffed Yasuo and Yone, which...
That wasn't needed. They nerfed Zed. They nerfed Zed.
Overall...
That wasn't deserved how badly they nerfed him. Sure, he did deserve a nerf, but that bad of a nerf. He just got.
But
fucking
overall,
gutted.
it just seems like they're trying to redeem themselves. Overall,
they're trying to.
Again, the Yasuo Yone buff was very questionable.
Yeah, we're just like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Riot? Like, we want to bitch slap you for that.
Other than that, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
but
no.
Overall, it seems like they're working towards making the game better and getting their shit together. And honestly, I think I have one thing to thank for that, and that is the Ruined event. The Ruined event was the worst event that I've ever seen.
Yep.
It completely destroyed all of the years of hype and buildup that we had, but it succeeded in one thing, and Necrit touched on this in his video covering it. It succeeded in one thing. It got Riot to wake up, because for the first time, the event was so bad that people didn't give a fuck about the skins that followed it. So this hurt Riot in the one place where they can't ignore it. Lost revenue.
And
their wallet took a hit this time, because people weren't buying the skins because the event was shitty, the lore was stupid and didn't make sense. So because of that, people didn't want to buy skins that were attached to such a stupid thing. And Riot felt that. And then the very next thing they did was release a long-ass note just basically saying, here's where we fucked up and here's where we're going to do better. And then they released Zeri. And Zeri, honestly, like, I've been jamming with Zeri. Like,
yeah, I can jam with her.
This is the most hyped I have ever been for an ADC release since Jhin. And Jhin came out a long-ass time ago, so let that speak for itself.
Yeah, and I'll say this much with Renata Glask. Anyone that says she's broken, maybe to League, but... And I'm going to come back to the note of Dota that I stated earlier. Dota does this better. Dota... Everything's broken in their own sense in Dota. If everything's broken, it's balanced. That's what they did in Dota. If League did that, then we'd all be fine. The thing is that League also copies a lot of abilities from Dota. The only champion, I will say this, the only champion that literally is nothing like motherfucking Dota is Ornn. Ornn is the only one that is nothing based from motherfucking Dota. Every other champion
in Dota that's like Jinx, and I want to find that champion.
But it's a mixed spread. She's literally spread amongst different champions. What I'm stating is that the thing is that League went ahead and grabbed different champions' abilities from different champions' abilities. Different champions' abilities are called heroes in Dota, but still the same thing basically. Different champions in Dota, they grab different abilities from them and then place them as the actual champion's kit. Like, Renata Glask's are, if anyone who plays Dota, you'd know this, Winter Wyvern's ultimate is the same thing. Just a longer duration, for one. Two, it's a toggle point, just point and click. And it's an area of effect. Whereas in Renata Glask, it's a skill shot, and it's a smaller duration than frickin' Winter Wyverns. That I will state. And then, Rubik. Lilia's name, R-U-B-I-K. Rubik. His Q is Renata's Q. But instead, Rubik, his Q, or their Q to Rubik, he fucking has it as a point and click. Renata has it as a skill shot. Let that sink in. That's a difference. They took two abilities from two different champions. The passives, they come from none of the champions. That's the thing. The passives, they don't come from champions. Thank the Lord. They don't come from any of the champions from Dota. They just come up with those and just slap them in.
Yeah, because I don't see any other game mode coming, I don't see any other game coming up with something as stupid as when you die, you can slowly run up to people and blow yourself up to do some damage. Cog.
Yeah, coggy. But, besides the point, what I'm saying is this. Like, how can I explain this? Karthus' ultimate, and I'll say this as well, Karthus' ultimate is stolen from Dota 2 as well. Because Zeus' ultimate is literally Karthus' ultimate, but Karthus it's a timer. So you can actually react to it, whereas in Zeus, it's instant. That's the only difference between the two. It's all global
Also,
and it attacks the
with
champions
the
only.
global ultimates.
Yeah, that's where I'll
Actually, no, I take that back. Stop with the no-die ultimates, god damn it.
Yeah, no, there's...
I am so sick of that.
Yeah, no.
That's another podcast in itself. Fucking no-die skills and ultimates and abilities. Stop it.
We'll do that another time.
If you want to not die, build a GA. Otherwise, just stop it. I kill you, you fucking die.
But the thing is, in Dota, there's only one way to get a GA, basically known as a revive. You have to kill the Roshan, which is basically the Baron. That's the only way you get a GA. Otherwise, you can't build a GA.
No GA for you.
Nope.
Really, GA should just be stuck as a.
And the thing is, it's only one
item.
And the thing is, it's only one person that can hold it. It's called the Heart of the Aegis. Or no, the Aegis of Immortal. That's what it is. The Aegis of Immortal is what it's called. It's basically the heart of the actual heart of the not the Tarask, the Roshan, basically in a sense. And only one drops, and only one person can carry it, and it's a timer. You have to have it within a timer of 5 minutes. Basically, once the Roshan spawns again, that if you didn't die within the time that the Roshan spawns back in, then the heart just disappears. And it's gone. And you have to go kill the Roshan again to get it again. It's literally a timer on it, too. That's why I'm like, Dota really fucking thought about it. Like, a revive. It's only going to be very fucking small to find it. No champion that I know of, has a revive. No champion has a global heal.
Well,
no. Dota, I meant.
Oh.
Yeah. The thing is that, like, Dota, so there are a couple more champions that are not like Dota, which I do like that. Akshan is actually another one. That I know of. I'd have to look at all the champions all over again for Dota, but if I remember right, for now, Akshan is his own as well. Ornn, Akshan, and Aurelion Sol. Forget no! Wait, no. Can't say Aurelion Sol because Io, one of the champions in Dota, is literally basically Yuumi and frickin' Yuumi and Aurelion Sol put together.
That sounds awful.
But the thing is that he's not invincible like Yuumi is. Instead, he is his own entity, and you can get hit. So he's like basically balanced Yuumi. Think of it as a balanced Yuumi because he can still get hit.
What a concept! Balance in our video games. Well, Zeri is. I honestly, again, this is why I feel like season 12 is like the redemption arc for Riot, because Zeri seems like an actual fair champion to play and fight against. Like, even though her mobility is through the roof, which it is, that is absolutely fair, and her dash is really absurd.
Yes, she has to scale it up.
You still have to scale her up, and also her individual auto attacks before you get certain items are just really, really weak. Like, you have to aim. Like, just, first of all, the entire concept of having to aim basic attacks is genius. Whoever came up with that in Riot, I want to kiss you, good sir or ma'am, because that was brilliant.
That was brilliant.
I wish all ADCs did that. That should be something that every ADC has. Could you imagine? Well, Ezreal does, to be fair.
Ezreal does, but it's not as dope as Zeri because
could you imagine if every champ had to aim auto attacks? Like, holy shit, the amount of skill expression you can do with that.
Well, the thing is that, like, sure, Ezreal can do it, but his auto attacks still do, better damage. Whereas, if you try an auto attack without using Zeri's Q, it's barely even anything of damage. Whereas then if you use her Q, it actually does a lot of damage. And that's the thing, like, you can't really place down Ezreal down as well because, or Ezreal down with her because he's nothing really like her when it comes to the Qs because it's like, he doesn't have it as an auto auto attack itself. It's just basically, I see Ezreal Q as an auto reset. Some people say no, but if you think about it, it is and it isn't at the same time. It's a both. It's a two-sided coin. And a lot of times whenever I say in this podcast it is and it isn't, think of it as in, like, it's a 50-50. On two different thought processes that I go through. I go through two separate processes, and I always explain both sides. But if you ever hear me say it is and it isn't, and I don't state it, if you should know, you would know.
Yeah.
Because it's common sense at that point, whenever I say it is or it isn't.
Yeah,
So,
and divisive arguments are one of the things that League honestly thrives in. I mean, hell, Zeri is a very divisive champion. Like, there are people who absolutely praise her, myself included, and then there are the other Jinx mains who are very angry that obviously better Jinx is here. And like, as a Jinx main myself, guys, like, I still play Jinx even though Zeri's around because Jinx outranges Zeri. If you didn't know.
now my fellow Bard mains gonna say
Just
this.
saying.
So you don't get mad at me, fellow Bard mains, because I know you will. Renata is Bard, but without the roam type of balance. Literally.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I could imagine all the Bard mates who just saw Renata and went, "Well, time to retire."
Yeah, but no, it's like the thing is that like she is Bard, but she's not the roam like Bard. Bard is the top tier roaming support. He has always been up at the top for roaming supports, and you Bards, even as me as a Bard main, we know it. We don't have to even gloat about it. We just know it, and that's why we're seen as a threat most of the time, because we can easily go roam. So, and we can easily change the map by leaving the lane. We never have to feel like we're locked to a lane. We can leave if we want to and go help another
There's a
position.
reason why he's called the Wandering Caretaker.
Yes.
He's not supposed to stay in lane.
No, and that's why our chimes are everywhere. She is the Bard, but without roaming. So don't think, oh, well, it's time for me to retire, or, oh, well, she just seems more broken, or, oh, frickin' Bard's now outdated. Bard's not outdated, but
He still has a niche.
He still has a niche, yes. He still has a niche to him. I know he's been gutted. I feel angry about it that he's been gutted when he shouldn't be as gutted as he has been. I have, like, asked Letherius before on a couple streams, and also in his Discord server, the #1 Bard in the world, and he has stated that, himself, it's not gonna, like, devastate Bard with Renata, or any champion is going to overlap Bard.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing that I'd like to say to the Jinx mains is Jinx, I don't know if you all know this, but Jinx can break the attack speed cap. Zeri can't.
Yeah, there's a difference between the two.
Just saying. Zeri kind of feels like Jinx 2.0, but Jinx still has a niche. Just calm down, guys. It's okay.
And freaking Jhin doesn't have really much of a attack speed at all, so Sure, he kind of does and he kind of doesn't at the same time, but that's what I'm gonna say with that.
Jhin is a whole different story. We
can probably have an entire freaking like podcast session all about just Jhin alone, from like
Jhin is perfect. Jhin is literally the best ADC I have ever played besides Jinx and Zeri. They're literally my top 3. I love them the most.
Out of the
and
ADCs,
again, I have not been as hyped for an ADC release since Jhin, other than this one. So
there's only 3 ADCs I play the most, and Rin, you can get mad at me if you want to. Tristana, because a friend of mine plays Tristana. And he inspired me to play Tristana. Jhin, because fucking Jin's a beautiful menace. I swear, I love him. And that's just about it for ADCs for me. That's the only 2 I really play is Tristana and Jhin.
Ones.
Yeah, because it's also like...
I'm surprised Caitlyn's not in there. Caitlyn does
I hate
Caitlyn.
I despise Caitlyn. Playing her, at least. I despise her because it's like, I don't like the sniper mechanic because it's just a toggle. It's just a point and click.
See, that I don't like. I'm telling you, this is why they should just have all ADCs have aimable auto attacks.
Yep,
this just is why.
Well, Jhin wouldn't be best for him.
If you can hit someone from forever, if you can hit someone from far as hell away, like Caitlyn can, but you had to aim it, like, holy shit, that would be amazing.
Like Jin's ultimate, that's literally what it is. That's why I like playing Jhin. Sure, he's stationary, but I mean, come the fuck on. He's stationary for this certain duration, so he can actually shoot a skill shot.
He has 4 shots.
Right.
So, I mean, it's fair in that regard.
But also, there is a, like, space of time in between each shot. And it doesn't scale with anything. Only thing it scales with is crit and damage, but it doesn't, like, make them fire faster.
No, yeah.
They have to exit the field before he can fire the next one. That's the thing. It has to exit the field first and disappear before he can fire the next one. That's why I like about it. And the thing is, like, with Caitlyn...
fire them, thank God.
And with Caitlyn, you can just sit there for, like, less than a second, fire, and once it leaves the gun, you can then walk. You don't have to sit there the entire time and wait for the bullet to hit the fucker. No, you can just, ding, and just keep walking. That's why I hate playing to her. Because it's like, there's not much skill to it. I'm like, okay, just unlock screen, and there you go. Exactly. Sure, it's like a skill shot. Oh, somebody can block it. What if the fucker's just split pushing?
I guess.
What if the fucker's split pushing? You can easily just bunk, and he's gone.
Caitlyn's ult is better for picking off weakened targets. That's what it's for.
Yes.
That's what it should be used for. It's for people who, like, hide in a bush that they didn't bother to scanner lens, and they're like, whew, I have, like, 10% health, and I barely got away from that team fight. Now I can go back, and, now I'm dead. It's like, Caitlyn's like, no, I see you.
Yeah, that's
what it should be for.
And the thing is, Sniper does that in Dota. Dota is straight up freaking Misfortune and Caitlyn put together. And he has the most range in the game. Thing is, he has the most range in the game out of all auto-attack based champions in Dota. He has the most range in the game. Like, he can literally freaking shoot you from, like, his turret halfway up your lane as long as he has sight of you. He can literally, like, go up the, like, yeah, he's fucking far. You put a Hurricane Pike on that son of a bitch, oh, hell,
I will say, though, thank goodness that Caitlyn's ult is not global, because Jinx's ult is global, but it's a skill shot. And it's a skill shot. Easy to miss.
Same thing like Ashe, same thing, actually can't say for Senna, but...
Senna's ult's faster, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Senna's ult is just, boom, done. Like, no.
I mean, you can still miss, of course, but it's much faster than Jinx's ult.
Yeah, it doesn't have a...
But it's so satisfying.
You have a smaller window to react than the others do. So... But on that note, I think it's a good time to place down and say thank you all for at least coming in and listening. I will be trying to make sure we get our videos out about every week or so. If we come out with...
this was an incohesive rant.
Yeah, this is our first time here with us anyways.
Remember when this podcast was about ninja patches?
Yeah, and then we just went through everywhere else. But the thing is, it's still talking about the main subject.
Our audience is gonna be like, remember when this was about ninja patches? I can already see it.
Yeah, but also don't worry, everyone. It is still about ninja patches, just that we go on to rants that also still relevate within the same type of category, basically. We're still talking about, like, patches and shit like that, because it's like what Riot has put in, and that's still counted as a patch, so, you know. We'll be discussing about other stuff later on. Hope you guys do enjoy. We'll be showing up by next week. I'll try and make sure I get everything set up for us. And we should be probably like every weekend we probably post like 1 or 2 podcasts, maybe 1 or 2 at least, or maybe 1. We'll talk about it. But everybody, I hope you do enjoy. Rin, it is of course always great to talk to you at all times. And if there's nothing else left to say to close this up, until next time, everybody.
I just want to say, thanks for listening in. We'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next time. Peace to all.